Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Why God brought you here? I stand here today with a simple but profound message. You are not here by accident. You're not a random speck in the vast expanse of time and space. You're here in this moment because God brought you here. You may have questions. You may be carrying burdens so heavy you feel like you can barely take another step. You may wonder, why am I here? Why me? Let me tell you, my friends, there is a purpose greater than anything you could imagine. You are not here by accident. God has a purpose for your life. This truth is both simple and profound. Often we move through life questioning our existence, wondering if the struggles we face, the joys we experience, or even the mundane moments have any real meaning. But if you pause and consider the intricate details of your journey, you will find that everything has been orchestrated for a reason. From the moment you took your first breath, you were set apart for something greater. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking we're just one of billions, insignificant and unseen. We see our flaws, our shortcomings, and the mistakes we've made, and we begin to believe that our lives don't matter. But think about this, out of all the possibilities, out of all the people who could exist, you are here. Your unique combination of talents, personality, and experiences is not a coincidence. You were designed with care, precision, and intention. Life might not always make sense. In fact, sometimes it feels like it's falling apart. We face setbacks, heartbreaks, and failures that leave us questioning everything. Why am I here? What's the point of this pain? In those moments, it's crucial to remember that God's perspective is far greater than ours. He sees the entire picture while we only see a small piece. The struggles you endure are not wasted. They are shaping you, molding you, and preparing you for something meaningful. Every experience, whether good or bad, is a thread in the fabric of your life. God uses those threads to weave a masterpiece, even if right now it feels like a tangled mess. Now think about the challenges you've faced. Maybe you've gone through something that seemed impossible to overcome. Yet here you are. The fact that you've made it this far is a testament to the strength God has placed within you. That strength is not random, it's purposeful. It's there so you can fulfill the calling He has placed on your life. Sometimes we underestimate the small moments. A kind word, a decision to persevere, an act of love may seem insignificant, but these moments can have ripple effects that reach far beyond what we can see. God uses even the smallest acts to work toward His greater purpose. When you choose to trust, to love, and to keep going, you are stepping into the purpose He has for you. Even your desires and passions were planted in you for a reason. Those things that light a fire in your soul, that make you feel alive, are clues to the unique role you were created to play. God has given you gifts and opportunities not to waste, but to use for His glory and the good of others. These are not random blessings, they are intentional tools for you to carry out your purpose. So, no matter where you find yourself today, whether you're thriving or barely holding on, remember this: you are not a mistake. Your life has meaning, and you were placed here for a reason far greater than you may ever fully understand. Every moment, every breath is a part of a divine plan that only God can orchestrate. Your past does not define you, it refines and prepares you. This is a truth that can set you free if you truly grasp it. So often we look back on our mistakes, failures, and painful experiences and allow them to weigh us down. We carry shame, regret, and bitterness, letting them define how we see ourselves and what we believe we're capable of. But the reality is that your past, no matter how difficult or flawed, is not the end of your story. It is a part of the journey shaping you into the person you are meant to be. The struggles and setbacks you faced are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to teach you, to grow you, and to prepare you for what's ahead. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that our mistakes disqualify us from living a life of purpose. But think about it, the greatest lessons often come from the hardest moments. The challenges you've overcome have given you resilience, compassion, and strength. They have refined your character in ways that nothing else could. When we hold on to the belief that our past defines us, we limit ourselves. We allow fear, doubt, and insecurity to dictate our actions. But if you look at your past through a different lens, you begin to see its purpose. Every wrong turn, every failure, and even every heartbreak can become a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. It's not about erasing the past, but about learning from it and letting it shape you for the better. Consider the refining process of gold. It must go through intense heat to remove impurities and become something valuable and beautiful. Your past is like that heat. It's uncomfortable, even painful, but it's working to bring out the best in you. Those moments you wish you could erase are the very moments that have taught you strength, patience, and perseverance. They have prepared you for the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. The key is to let go of the shame and guilt that often come with reflecting on the past. Holding on to those emotions only serves to trap you in a cycle of self-doubt. Instead, embrace the grace that allows you to move forward. Understand that every experience has a purpose, even if you can't see it in the moment. Your past doesn't have to define you unless you let it. Think about the ways your experiences have shaped your heart. Perhaps a difficult season has given you empathy for others who are struggling. Maybe a failure taught you the importance of persistence and humility. These lessons are not accidents, they are tools you can use to impact the world around you. The very things you thought disqualified you might be the things that qualify you to help others in ways you never imagined. No matter what your past looks like, it is part of the story God is writing with your life. It is not a barrier, it is a bridge. Every scar, every mistake, and every victory has prepared you for this moment and the ones to come. God transforms pain into purpose and trials into triumphs. It may not always feel that way when you're in the midst of it, but the truth is that the hardest moments in life often lead to the most meaningful outcomes. Pain, as difficult as it is to endure, has a way of sharpening us, teaching us, and ultimately revealing the strength and purpose within us. When we allow God to work through our struggles, He can take the very things that once broke us and use them to build something extraordinary. Pain is a universal experience. Every one of us at some point faces heartbreak, disappointment, or loss. It can leave us feeling isolated, defeated, and without hope. But what if the pain you're experiencing isn't just happening to you, but is happening for you? What if it's part of a greater plan to mold you into someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate? God does not waste our pain. He sees every tear, every sleepless night, and every moment of despair. And in His hands, even the darkest moments can be transformed into something beautiful. Trials often serve as a refining fire. Just as gold is purified through intense heat, our character is developed through the challenges we face. Those moments when we feel like we're at our breaking point are often the very moments when we discover what we're truly made of. They push us to grow in ways we never would have imagined and prepare us for the opportunities and responsibilities that lie ahead. Without the struggle, we might never reach the full potential God has placed within us. It's only after we've endured pain that we can truly understand our purpose. The experiences that brought us the most heartache often give us the empathy and insight to help others who are going through similar challenges. Your pain can become your platform. What you've overcome can become the very thing that allows you to encourage, inspire, and uplift those around you. When God transforms your trials into triumphs, He doesn't just do it for you, He does it so that you can be a light for others. It's also through trials that we learn to lean on God in ways we never have before. Pain has a way of stripping away our illusions of control and reminding us of our need for His strength and guidance. In those moments, we often find a deeper connection with Him. He uses the trials to draw us closer, to teach us to trust Him fully, and to show us that His plans are greater than anything we could imagine for ourselves. Even though we may not understand it in the moment, every trial carries the potential for triumph. God doesn't promise a life free of challenges, but He does promise that He will walk with us through them and use them for good. The pain you experience can become the foundation for a greater purpose, a deeper faith, and a life that reflects His glory in ways you may not yet fully comprehend. Your life and experiences can be a testimony to inspire and heal others. The journey you've walked, with all its ups and downs, has a purpose far beyond what you might realize. Sometimes we underestimate the power of our story. We think our experiences are too ordinary or too messy to matter. But the truth is, your story has the potential to impact someone else's life in a way you may never fully understand. Every challenge you've faced, every victory you've achieved, and even the mistakes you've made are part of a narrative that is uniquely yours. These moments aren't random, they've been allowed or orchestrated to shape you into who you are and to equip you with the insight and compassion needed to connect with others. What you've gone through gives you a perspective that someone else might desperately need. Your testimony can be the light in someone else's darkness, the encouragement they need to take one more step forward. There's a certain power in authenticity. When you share your story, the real story, not just the polished parts, you create a space for others to see that they're not alone. Often people feel isolated in their struggles, believing that no one else understands what they're going through. But when you're willing to be vulnerable and share your experiences, you open the door for connection. You show others that pain, failure, and doubt are part of the human experience, and you give them hope that these things can be overcome. Your story doesn't have to be perfect to be impactful. In fact, it's often the imperfections that make it the most powerful. When you share how you've faced adversity, how you've stumbled and gotten back up, and how you've learned and grown, you offer a blueprint of hope to those who are struggling. It's not about having all the answers, it's about being willing to say, this is where I was, this is what I went through, and this is how I found my way forward. The very things you thought would disqualify you from making a difference are the things that qualify you the most. Your pain, your failures, and your struggles can become the tools God uses to bring healing and encouragement to others. When people see someone who has walked through fire and come out stronger, it inspires them to believe that they can do the same. Your life is a living example of God's grace and faithfulness. Every time you share how He has worked in your life, how He has carried you through difficult times, provided when you were in need, or transformed your heart, you give glory to Him and point others toward hope. Your testimony is not just about you, it's a way to reflect God's love and power to the world. Even if you don't think your story is extraordinary, remember that what seems ordinary to you can be extraordinary to someone else. Your experiences are a gift, not just for your own growth, but for the encouragement and healing of those around you. God calls you to take steps of faith, even when you feel unworthy. It's a truth that resonates deeply because so many of us wrestle with feelings of inadequacy. We look at our flaws, our mistakes, and our limitations, and we convince ourselves that we're not good enough to be used by God. But the reality is, God doesn't call the perfect or the qualified, He calls those who are willing. He takes what you see as weakness and uses it to accomplish things far beyond what you think you're capable of. When God calls you to take a step of faith, it can feel overwhelming. Fear creeps in, and you might start to question if you're hearing Him correctly. Surely, God, you don't mean me. You might think I'm not strong enough, smart enough, or good enough. But throughout history, God has shown that He delights in using the unexpected. Think about the people He has chosen to carry out His plans, ordinary people with extraordinary callings. He used Moses, who doubted his ability to speak, to lead an entire nation. He used David, a young shepherd, to defeat a giant and become a king. He used Peter, who denied Jesus, to build His church. What all these people had in common wasn't their perfection, but their willingness to trust God. They didn't always get it right, and they didn't always feel ready, but they took the step anyway. That's what faith is. It's not about having all the answers or feeling completely prepared. It's about trusting that God will provide what you need when you need it. Taking a step of faith requires courage, and courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means choosing to move forward despite the fear. It's about leaning into God's promises and trusting that He will equip you for whatever lies ahead. He sees what you cannot see. He knows what you do not know. And when you place your trust in Him, you begin to walk not by your own strength, but by His. Feeling unworthy is a common experience, but it's also a distraction. God doesn't look at you and see your mistakes or shortcomings. He sees your potential. He sees what He placed inside you when He created you. That potential isn't diminished by your past, your doubts, or your failures. It's waiting to be unlocked through your obedience. When God calls you, He's not looking for perfection, He's looking for faith. Even if your step feels small or insignificant, it matters. Faith often starts with small steps, choosing to forgive, reaching out to someone in need, or saying yes to an opportunity that stretches you. Each step builds on the last, and before you know it, you're walking in a purpose greater than you could have imagined. What you may not realize is that your willingness to step out in faith doesn't just impact your own life, it impacts others as well. God works through your faith to inspire, encourage, and bless those around you. Your obedience can become the catalyst for someone else's breakthrough, reminding them of what's possible when they trust God. Trust that God's plan is greater than what you can see right now. This is a truth that requires both faith and patience, especially in a world where we often crave immediate answers and clear direction. Life is full of moments when things don't make sense, when the pieces don't seem to fit together, and when the path ahead feels uncertain or obscured. It's in these moments that trusting God becomes not just a choice but a lifeline. We often approach life with our own ideas and expectations. We plan, we dream, and we work towards certain outcomes, believing we know what's best for ourselves. But there comes a time when those plans are interrupted, delayed, or even completely turned upside down. In those moments, it's easy to feel frustrated or disheartened, wondering why things aren't going the way you expected. But what if the detours, the delays, and even the disappointments are part of something bigger? God's plan is not confined to our limited understanding. He sees the beginning, the end, and everything in between. What looks like a setback to us might actually be a setup for something greater. The door that closes, the opportunity that slips away, or the challenge that seems insurmountable could all be pieces of a divine puzzle that is still being put together. Trusting God means believing that He is working all things together for good, even when it doesn't feel like it in the moment. Faith doesn't mean you'll always understand why things happen the way they do. In fact, there will be times when you don't understand at all. But faith is about leaning into the knowledge that God's ways are higher than our ways. His plans are crafted with infinite wisdom, and His timing is always perfect. Even when life feels chaotic or unfair, He is in control, weaving every experience into a greater purpose. It's natural to want clarity and assurance. We want to know where the road leads and how everything will work out. But God often asks us to trust Him step by step without revealing the entire journey all at once. This kind of trust is not passive, it's active and intentional. It's choosing to believe in His goodness and faithfulness even when circumstances challenge that belief. The things we perceive as obstacles or challenges are actually opportunities for growth and preparation. God uses the waiting seasons, the struggles, and the unanswered questions to build our character, deepen our faith, and prepare us for what lies ahead. Trusting His plan means accepting that what you're going through now has a purpose, even if you can't see it yet. Looking back, you may realize that the times when you felt most lost or uncertain were the very moments when God was doing His greatest work in your life. He doesn't just see where you are, He sees where you're going. And His plan for you is not just good, it's better than anything you could imagine for yourself. Thanks for watching.